I'm super stoked to say I did win first place overall for the females and sixth place for overall male and female. So I won my first sky race and I'm so excited about it, and I even got this cool singlet. What? I'm really excited. Hey you guys, welcome back to Viv's Vibe. Today I wanted to do a quick race recap just to kind of show y'all some of the footage from the race and talk about what went right and what went wrong, and just kind of go over the weekend in general. If you haven't watched any of the videos that I've done, I just completed the Franklin Mountain 50K. It started at 6 a.m. and I finished at noon 35. It took 6 hours and 35 minutes. It ended up being about 35 miles. I had already run this course. I split it up into 2 days. If you haven't seen my race preview, you can check that out. And that allowed me to get a vision for the course and what I wanted to do, but it also allowed me to figure out what my pace was going to be. I really stuck to the plan that I had come up with before I even started the race, and I believe that's what got me to the finish line first. In the past races I've run, I haven't gotten super specific with how I was going to race, what I was going to bring, what I was going to eat. I just trained like I thought I should and then showed up and winged it, and it worked okay, but I can see the difference in planning for a race and knowing exactly what I was going to do, because what that did for me was it took away any question of what I was going to do when I got to an aid station. It saved me a lot of time moving through the aid stations. And then third, I just felt more confident going into the race because I did have a plan. I started the race with 1 water bottle. I had 5 miles. I knew that's all I would need, and I had goos in my pockets like I said I would, and ran the 5 miles, got up to the aid station. I dropped my water bottle. I picked up another one that had already been pre-filled with water and electrolytes. After that, I took off for another 5-ish miles, came into the TH aid station, and I picked up my pack. In my pack I had more goo, I had a whole 1.5 liters of water, and I had my poles. On that side of the course, I knew that's where I was going to need my poles, and I was going to be power hiking the majority of the mileage out there. I knew that I was going to be slower in that section of just power hiking, so I didn't care that I had a pack on. I also needed that pack because there was an aid station at Mundy Gap, and I ran through that one for the first pass because I had enough water and I had enough energy, nutrition with me. I summited the peak, came down, refilled my 1.5 liters and poured some more electrolytes in there, and then took off down the mountain. I bombed down the North Franklin Peak as quickly as my feet would go, and as carefully, because the rocks are just shaky everywhere, and then made it into the East Aid Station. There I dropped my poles, and I didn't need any more water because I had refilled at Mundy Aid Station, and then headed back out into a lot more climbing, but I didn't need my poles for that kind of climbing because it was the roller coaster kind of climbing like I talked about in my preview. I felt pretty good, and I was able to start picking people off. A lot of the guys had started out maybe a little too fast, and they were losing some energy on the backside, so I still had quite a bit left because I knew what I was getting into, and I continued to just pick people off as we went. Then I came into the West Aid Station and dropped my pack because I had about 6 miles left, which ended up being closer to like 7 or 8 miles left. But I picked up 2 water bottles. One of those water bottles I poured over myself, and the other one I drank, and then finished it up as strong as I could. It hurt a lot, but it was a lot of fun, and I was able to pick off, I think, maybe 3 or 4 more guys on that last section, and then finished as strong as I could, and that ended up getting me first place, and I had a lot of fun doing it. The volunteers out here were absolutely incredible, so good at cheering us on, and I have to, of course, thank David for helping me get through the aid station so quickly. He had everything ready to go, so all I had to do is pick things up and hit the trail again. And I really think because I was able to strategize and because I planned it all out and stuck with that plan, because there was one time where I was like, maybe I won't fill back up, I'll be fine. And then something kind of came over me and I was like, no, I need to stick to the plan. This is a plan for a reason. And I'm glad I did, because that enabled me to just blow through the aid stations. When I stop at an aid station, I stop. And I eat cheesecake bites, and I flounder around, and I talk to the volunteers. I knew myself, and I knew I needed to move through the aid station. So I eliminated that time and that extra meandering by planning out what I was going to do and packing in my own nutrition as well. Some things that could have been better: I could have had more nutrition. I had just enough, and just enough is not quite good enough. I think it's better to have more goo than not. I definitely could have used 1 or 2 more on the backside. The second thing was electrolytes, kind of on the same lines as nutrition. I could have had probably 1 or 2 more packets of that. I finished the race with an entire pack of electrolyte on my face because I sweat so much. And the third thing, my feet really started hurting halfway through. I don't think my shoes or my shoe sock combination was quite right, on top of just the difficult terrain and the pounding of the downhills. I don't know, I had some painful sore feet by the end of this race. So I would have liked to maybe have a rock plate in my shoe. There was something wrong. I don't know what it was yet, but I'm gonna figure that out for next race. Overall, Rob Goen and his volunteers and his employees put on an incredible race out here. If you've never been out to the Franklin Mountains in El Paso, you've got to come out at some point. It's just crazy how close we are to town and how just desolate it is out here. I mean, there's no running water or electricity, and yet we're like 10 minutes from town. So that's super cool. An amazing race, really well put on. I will say, if you are going to do any Rob Goen race, any TROT, Trail Racing Over Texas race, do not be surprised when the 50K turns into a 55K, 60K. Think of it as a gift. You're getting more for your money. The course is phenomenal. The front side is certainly the most difficult. It's where people want to quit, but if you can get over to the backside, that's when the fun starts happening. You start going over the beautiful rollers and you're like, I need a freaking drone because I feel so legit right now, like running on this trail, and like we're halfway up the mountain, and like there's a canyon and there's a vista view. Like, this is so cool. I mean, at least that's how I felt. Also, thank you guys for your support. I got so many messages just wishing me luck on this race, and I was so happy to just have the support of everyone out there. So thanks so much. Yeah, next week we're going to be talking about recovery, because that's what I need to be doing to get recovered for the Bandera 100K in January. I will see you next week. Until then, happy trails. Something to consider if you're camping. This week was an anomaly. Usually it's blowing like stink, and sleeping in a tent does not equal sleeping. It's so loud, and the tent's like right here the whole night, just like this, blowing in your face. So bring a car, a camper, or get a room at a hotel. If you're willing to sit through this all night, you're welcome. The park ranger said you could camp anywhere and just leave a donation. Something that's really neat about this park is they give you the gate code and you just come on in. It's kind of like your own state park. It's pretty cool. Thanks, El Paso!